So I was thinking about how when you've grown up in an environment that's full of chaos and trauma, you naturally try to find ways to calm and regulate yourself. And for different people, that's going to be obviously different things. But even for, two or three kids that have grown up in the same household and have the same parents, how they experience chaos and trauma, even in the same experience, they're going to experience it differently because they have different personalities. So whereas some others, try to find their escape through substance abuse, some of us, like myself, find other methods of coping and calming. And one of these methods, one of these things, I've incorporated into literally every part of my life, and it involves colors. So one of the main things that I noticed is that every part of my house, all of my clothing, even when even though I don't usually put makeup on, when I do put makeup on, I usually use one of these colors as well. But everything for me is calming and feels good and helps me to feel balanced is in green or blue or turquoise. And I think that probably a large part of the reason for that is the influence from Egypt, because I spent a long time being influenced by my trips to Egypt as a child, because my father used to take me every 6 months or every year, and as often as he possibly could go, during the early part of my childhood, up until I was, from the time I was 6 months, honestly, up until I was 8. When I was 8, I was actually abducted to Egypt, which is how I learned to speak Arabic. And I spent a year and a half living in Egypt during that time. That's another story for another day. So I think that those colors and how they regulate me, I think that they come from Egypt. And that without really realizing it, even though I grew up in London, and London, of course, has had such a profound influence on me, that the colors, they came from Egypt. Because everything that feels good to me is in green and blue and turquoise. And I've incorporated that into every area of my household and my life, including what I wear. Like every top that I have bought is either a shade of green or blue, and I've tried to incorporate some other colors just to break it up. But, predominantly my entire wardrobe is green and blue and turquoise. Including the walls in my house and the rugs and the plates and the cups, and there's just between that and the patterns. So the things that make me feel calm and regulated are colors and patterns, green and blue and turquoise, and geometric patterns. So I've incorporated that into almost every aspect of my personal life as my form of sanctuary, if that makes sense. So I just think it's interesting how people find different ways to, regulate themselves. And this is just some of the things that are about me.